Donnie woke up in a panic. For a moment, he thought his brothers had left him. He looked outside the tent and found them all getting ready for the day. Donnie sighed with a bit of relief. Guess it was just a dream. The wind was still going strong. When he sat up, he was greeted with the tent flapping his head. He crawled out of the tent and went over to the picnic table. He found some peanut butter and jelly and made himself a quick sandwich. Now that Donnie had some energy, he decided to do some of the dishes that were left over from the other night. He filled a bucket of water and soap and started scrubbing away. Mikey came over and helped rinse and dry the dishes. They sang together, singing musical numbers. Donnie tried his best to remember the lyrics so that Mikey could easily sing along. He found it more difficult without the melody in the background. Once he was done finishing the dishes, it was already lunchtime. Turkey sandwiches again. Did Mikey really not plan for any other sandwich meals? The day was rather slow. Nothing was really planned. No hike, no fishing, no playing around with a ball. Nothing. Everyone seemed to be doing their own thing. Donnie hid back into his tent and dug out a book to read. It was called The Wing Feather Saga. He didn't get very far, though. He got about 1 or 2 chapters until he was too annoyed by the constant wild wind knocking the tent over. He lay down and his head hit something rather hard compared to a pillow. He turned to find out what it was. It was a sketchbook and a pen with a purple ribbon on it. A gift? But it wasn't his birthday or anywhere near it. He looked over and saw there was another present with a blue ribbon on Leo's pillow. He untied the purple ribbon. When he opened it, the sketch of a note fell out. To Donnie, I got you guys some sketchbooks and pens. I was thinking you could use them to journal about your camping week. Or anything else. Love, Mikey. Donnie took a look at the front cover. It had a pink flamingo on it with a sloth riding on top. It made him chuckle. He spent some time fiddling around with a pen and sketchbook for a while. Soon dinner was being made. Donnie ran off to the bathroom again. When he came back out, it was already getting dark. The trees shook in the breeze, making a flickering sound in waves. The wild dogs started barking again. He felt like it would be silly to run back to the camp. He knew those dogs were miles away, but he didn't want to walk either. That took so long. Man, if he only had a scooter or something, that would work. But soon enough, he came around the bend as the campsite came into view. It looked like Mikey got the fire burning good. Donnie was always surprised how easy it was for Mikey to start a fire. He heard Mikey singing something and clapping his hands to the beat. I never thought of that one being a campfire song, Donnie said as he approached the triplet. It's got a good rhythm to it. I don't see why not. Mikey cheerfully smiled. He leaned over and stirred the chicken in a large pot. He then added some corn and beets. Pouring in some broth instantly made it a soup. They each sat around the fire and ate a bowl of it. All except Leo. Leo, why aren't you eating? I'm not hungry. That's all. Leo got up from his chair. I think I'll take a quick shower at the shower house, Leo said as he grabbed his bag of clothes. Donnie watched as Leo started a very short hike down the road, which felt so much longer to Donnie when the sun had set. After they were done with their food, they set their dishes aside. Everyone else was getting ready for bed. Donnie threw a few sticks into the fire to keep the food warm. Time had passed from 9 to 10:15. Leo still had not returned. Donnie couldn't help but worry a little bit. He had heard the wild dogs barking very loud about an hour. Donnie checked the soup, only to find out the water had boiled out. He sat back down and threw a few sticks on the fire. He tapped his foot, waiting for Leo to come back. Suddenly, a rustling noise was heard coming down the turn. Donnie assumed it was Leo, but part of him thought otherwise. He tensed up slightly, waiting to see what would come around the bend. And to his assumption, it was Leo, coming down the road with a towel around his neck. Donnie let his shoulders loosen. Leo had a pair of black shorts and a long blue-sleeved shirt with the brightest yellow Crocs you've ever seen. Donnie wasn't sure about Leo's fashion sense, but he let it slide. "Hey, Tello, what are you still doing?" "Waiting for you." "You didn't have to. You could have gone to bed already. I was keeping your food warm." Donnie lifted the lid to show the evaporated soup. Leo cringed a little. What once was soup was now as dry as a desert in comparison. Donnie started scooping it out into a bowl, but he didn't hand it to Leo that way. He walked over to the picnic table and added a little water to it. "Here, it has become a soup again," Donnie said as he held it toward Leo. Leo took the bowl and peeked inside. That looked better, more like soup with liquid that was all jazz. "Thanks for keeping it warm," Leo smiled. Donnie nodded in return. Leo took a few sips of the soup, then drew his eyes onto Donnie. "Is your stomach feeling better from yesterday?" "How did you know about that?" "My stomach wasn't feeling so great either. I was sure it wasn't my stomach I was feeling." Donnie blinked a couple times. Twin streak is what Leo called it. It was a ridiculous idea that they could feel each other's pain or whatever. But if it was true, then how did Leo know that he was sick the other night? Donnie just sighed and drew his attention to the fire. "Yeah, it's better now." "Good." Leo finished his soup and ran off into the tent. Donnie had gone to the bathrooms one more time to brush his teeth. When he came back, Leo was already asleep. Donnie narrowed his eyes. Leo had his legs flopped all over to his side of the tent. He picked up Leo's tent and shoved them over. Leo mumbled something that sounded like, "Actually, never mind." It sounded like nothing. Donnie got into his sleeping bag and zipped it over his head. 5 more nights to go, Donnie thought to himself. He put his phone on silent and went to sleep.